want to ask you one more thing, and you and I have spoken about it in the past, and it's quite a like a controversial topic at the moment. Is this idea of creating this network of influencers? And we alluded to it slightly earlier when we were talking about like the organization and telling everyone about EX. And I think this is a really big trend on the horizon. This building, actual influences into your employee experience strategy and actually remunerating influencers to actually almost be your people in the organization. And I know it's controversial. What are your thoughts?
I think, man, that is just such a controversial topic, because I think maybe nobody's cracked it, right? And
Yeah.
it lends some element to a different story, which is also on the horizon, which is the side hustle, right? So if you start thinking about it, every futurist, every what do we call them, millennial or Gen Z or Gen Alpha person is telling you organizations need to incorporate the side hustle and accept that people have side hustles and all of that kind of stuff in the business. And I think it's easier said than done, right? Because the reality is that if you're an ace entrepreneur, do you want to then now come into an organization and then be, wholly controlled by the organization? Chances are not. But maybe if you're new and you're starting out in the work world, then you get the benefits of, the opportunity to work with like-minded people. Something sparks an idea, and then you get a fabulous idea that might become the next billion-dollar idea. But then whose billion-dollar is it? Is it the organization's or is it yours? So, I mean, you've had to work out all of those nuances. And then still, we've been talking about being fair and being, building trust. Is most rules says if something comes out of an organization in the employee, it's the organization's, right?
IP,
And then the argument becomes to answer your question around, if I have a batch of influencers in my business, right? And they're the guys who are now tweeting on Yammer, and if you've got Facebook for Workplace, or if you've got Slack or whatever, they're the guys pushing your messages, driving your messages, and that's fabulous, right? So do they get remunerated? Should they get you remunerated? If so, how do we pay them on likes? And then do they start selling the likes and paying people for likes? And all of that kind of stuff becomes very, 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 very complex. And 9 out of 10 times, you spoke about it earlier on, is that those folks are doing that purely for the joy of it, for the love of it, and because they get the kudos and they get the props that says, hey, look at me, I'm like the #1 influencer on our platform, I got 1,000 likes, da 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 da. So I think, Sally, I haven't answered your question purposely because I honestly don't have an answer. And I don't think anyone's cracked it, because the complexity around what do we remunerate you for? How do we remunerate you? At what level? And then you got other people going, oh, well, why should you get paid? Why am I not an influencer? Give me a chance to be the influencer. Da 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 da. It just, there's this whole notion of the natural evolution of somebody who naturally takes on that role and they can influence, versus now somebody who decides, oh, there's money involved in this thing, so I want to do it, kind of thing. And that I don't think we've kind of cracked at an organizational level. I think TikTok's still trying to figure that stuff out. YouTube's still trying to figure that stuff out. Are we going to be able to do it in an organization? I don't know. I don't know. And I don't have an answer, I must be honest.